Imagine this. You sit down for what seems like an innocent, quick meal, completely unaware that each bite you take is silently dragging you toward a catastrophic heart attack, one that could strike tonight. You're over 70, finally enjoying the peace of retirement, perhaps spending sunny afternoons gardening or sharing precious moments with your grandchildren. But what if just one casual indulgence, a pinch of salt too many, or that comforting, sugary donut you crave each morning could trigger a midnight emergency rush to the hospital, gasping desperately for breath? Terrified it might be your last sounds extreme. It's not. Every single day, countless seniors ignore subtle yet deadly signs that their hearts are quietly failing. That innocent sprinkle of salt stiffens your arteries. That donut spikes your blood sugar sky high, silently pushing you to the brink of a life-threatening stroke or heart attack. And here's the brutal truth: if your goal is to remain active and independent rather than confined to a hospital bed, helpless and hooked up to machines, you need to understand exactly how these common foods can destroy your arteries right now. Waiting just one more meal could be too late. We often think life should slow down after 70, but your heart doesn't have that luxury. It's working harder than ever. And the harsh reality is, you might already be one doctor's appointment away from discovering irreversible damage caused by daily habits you dismiss as harmless. Why am I, an award-winning physician journalist, urgently warning you today? Because I've stood at the bedsides of countless seniors in cardiac wards, listened to panicked families crying. Why didn't anyone warn us? After discovering the shocking truth that something as simple as canned soup or a serving of crispy fries turned into a life-threatening disaster. Far too often, I've heard patients whisper, trembling, "I had no idea. I thought it was just normal aging." It's not normal. It's preventable. The next few minutes could literally save your life. Stay with me before it's too late. To illustrate what's at stake, let me share a composite story built from real-life experiences. Mr. Garcia was a 72-year-old retired truck driver. He enjoyed what he termed traditional comfort foods every evening: canned chili, salted crackers, and processed meats. Despite occasional shortness of breath, he believed that slowing down was just part of getting older. One morning, he felt a crushing pain in his chest. By the time the ambulance arrived, his condition had deteriorated. The diagnosis: a severe coronary blockage that could have ended his life. His medical team traced his dietary habits as a major contributing factor. This crisis did not have to happen. Mr. Garcia survived, but he spent weeks in recovery and thousands in medical bills. Worse yet, he lost much of his mobility and confidence. His future changed overnight. Now, with rehabilitation exercises, strict medication schedules, and a drastically modified meal plan, he's making progress, but the struggle has been life-altering. This stark reminder is not meant to frighten you without reason. It's a wake-up call. If you're over 70 or care about someone who is, it's time to confront the hidden triggers that can amplify your chances of a heart crisis. Even small substitutions can strengthen your heart's resilience and possibly save your life. What follows is a countdown of 7 especially risky foods for seniors. You'll see why these items pose such a threat, the scientific evidence behind the warnings, and the practical swaps you can make today. Some might surprise you, others may already be on your watch list. But I promise that by the end of this script, you'll not only understand the why behind each danger, but also the how for real-life solutions. Then, I'll provide you with a simple 7-day checklist that's easier than you think. Change can be intimidating, but staying the same can be lethal. Keep listening, because what you learn next could alter your health trajectory for the better. Science, the big picture. The World Health Organization, who reports that cardiovascular diseases claim nearly 18 million lives each year. The majority of these deaths arise from restricted blood flow to the heart or brain, commonly referred to as myocardial infarctions or strokes. For individuals in their 8th decade of life, even routine tasks can become stressful for the heart, especially if their arteries have been weakened by decades of exposure to damaging substances. Michael Greger, author of numerous nutritional studies, emphasizes that small, consistent dietary changes can dramatically reduce the risk of serious arterial blockages. Nutrition facts. Org 20. That's the encouragement we need, and these changes do work. It's not simply about prolonging life, but ensuring those golden years remain active and fulfilling. The Harvard T.M.H. Chan School of Public Health underscores the role of poor dietary choices in accelerating heart-related ailments. According to a 2020 study they published, foods overloaded with sodium, trans fats, or refined sugars can significantly heighten the likelihood of developing coronary artery disease. Consider them ticking time bombs in your kitchen cabinets. In a younger person, the body may counteract some of these negative effects with robust metabolic and circulatory systems. Yet after 70 protective mechanisms can weaken, blood vessels stiffen, blood pressure escalates, and the harmful impact of each unwise food choice gets amplified. The objective now is to pinpoint these culprit foods and either eliminate them or transform them into healthier versions. I can't stress enough that you should never discontinue any prescribed medical treatment based on a YouTube video or any online resource. Always talk to your personal physician about any intended diet shifts. That said, it's crucial to realize how avoiding certain high-risk foods can sharpen your defense against a heart catastrophe. The sources we'll explore, from respected institutions and first-hand clinical cases, speak volumes. The power to steer your health in the right direction is within reach. Let's move on to the countdown of dangerous foods. We'll start at number 7, climbing all the way to the biggest offender. Stay tuned and be prepared for a few shockers. Countdown Boston. Food number 7, canned soups and packaged meals. Let's begin with an item that many seniors lean on: pre-packaged meals. Canned soups and ready-made sides. They're extremely convenient. But here's the hidden problem. These foods are typically saturated in sodium. Excess sodium makes your body hold on to excess fluid. In someone over 70, that fluid retention can drive your blood pressure through the roof, straining your heart muscle. You might think, I'll just choose the reduced sodium label. Unfortunately, what's labeled low salt can still contain hundreds of milligrams of sodium in a single serving. Multiply that by the rest of the day's meals, and you may exceed 1,500 milligrams, often recommended by cardiologists as the upper daily limit for older adults. In my hospital rounds, I encountered Bradley, age 78, a retired accountant who prided herself on being thrifty. She found comfort in discount canned soups in reheated casseroles. Over time, Mrs. Bradley's ankles swelled and her blood pressure soared. She ended up needing emergency care after what she thought was just lightheadedness turned out to be an incipient cardiac event. The culprit, in part, was the unrelenting salt load. She had believed that homemade cooking was too time-consuming. After this scare, she learned simpler methods: making soup in a slow cooker with fresh herbs, rinsing canned beans thoroughly, and using spices like rosemary to provide flavor without the salt blast. A 2018 study in the journal Hypertension found that older adults benefit significantly from cutting daily sodium intake to around 1,500 milligrams or less. The authors concluded that even moderate reductions led to notable improvements in heart performance. It's clear that for seniors, sodium can be a silent saboteur. If you're shopping for quick solutions, read the nutrition labels diligently. Opt for low-sodium broth, salt-free tomato sauce, and fresh or frozen vegetables for homemade soups. Consider using onion powder, garlic powder, or a splash of lemon to perk up flavor. Don't underestimate the difference each small sodium reduction can fortify your arteries, easing the workload on your heart. Countdown. Food number 6, pastries and sweet treats. Next on our list are pastries and other sugary desserts. Think muffins, cookies, pies, and donuts. Nobody is telling you to banish all sweets forever, but you must realize the damage lurking behind that innocent slice of cake. These confections are frequently brimming with refined sugar and saturated fats. In older adults, high sugar consumption can spike blood glucose levels, setting off a chain reaction. Elevated blood sugar harms the delicate lining of your blood vessels. Over time, the body may lose its ability to regulate insulin properly, inching you closer to type 2 diabetes. And guess what pairs terribly with sugar for heart health? Excess saturated fat, which ramps up bad LDL cholesterol. Cakes and pastries often contain fats from butter or hydrogenated oils. Both can ramp up the undesirable kind of cholesterol in your bloodstream. When cholesterol accumulates in your arterial walls, it narrows the passageways that feed your heart muscle, increasing the chance of a dangerous blockage. Dr. K. V. Narayan from the American Journal of Cardiology wrote in a 2019 article that eliminating trans fat and reducing saturated fat have the biggest potential for lowering cardiovascular risk in older adults. Many pastries also quietly include trans fats, especially if they have been prepared using partially hydrogenated vegetable oils. Even small amounts of these harmful fats can significantly heighten the risk of a cardiac crisis in someone already coping with older blood vessels. What can you do if you have a sweet tooth? First, try turning to fresh fruit berries, apples, or oranges to satisfy cravings. They offer vitamins, antioxidants, and natural fiber. On special occasions, treat yourself to a slice of fruit-based dessert with minimal added sugar. Or if you enjoy baking at home, replace some refined sugar with mashed banana or applesauce. You can experiment with whole grain flours to boost fiber content. Yes, these modifications might slightly alter the taste, but your arteries will thank you. Remember, it's not about denying yourself every indulgence. It's about making wise choices that ensure your treats don't sabotage your heart. Moderation and smarter substitutions can keep your sweet cravings from turning into a health nightmare. Countdown food number 5, white bread and refined carbs. Moving on, we have white bread, bagels, and a variety of refined carbohydrates. These items flood your system with simple carbs that convert rapidly to sugar in your bloodstream. Quick sugar spikes lead to equally rapid crashes, harming blood vessels and increasing the odds of elevated triglycerides. According to a 2021 Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health brief, diets high in refined carbs correlate with insulin resistance, one of the key risk factors for heart problems and stroke in older adults. You might recall that insulin resistance triggers a damaging cascade. Your pancreas works overtime. Blood sugar levels remain too high, and blood vessel linings weaken. Consider a retiree named Mr. Santos, age 75, who loved his morning routine, a plain bagel slathered with margarine. It was his favorite comfort food. Over the years, this habit plus snacking on refined crackers during TV time transformed his once stable blood sugar into borderline diabetes. When his doctor informed him of imminent insulin therapy, he realized he needed an urgent dietary overhaul. By substituting a sprouted grain toast for his bagel and switching to a high-fiber cereal snack in the afternoon, he saw a tangible improvement in both energy levels and lab results. Refined carbs might feel innocent, but in an older body, they can escalate a silent progression toward heart disease. Here's what you can do whenever you buy bread, pasta, or rice. Look for whole grain or sprouted grain versions. These options keep the bran and germ intact, retaining the essential nutrients and fiber that help regulate blood sugar. If you're not used to the texture, start by replacing just half your refined carbs with whole grains. Over time, your palate adapts. Experiment with grains like quinoa, barley, or bulgur in soups and salads. These small steps maintain a more consistent blood glucose level, reduce insulin surges, and minimize arterial wear and tear. Always consult your physician, especially if you have a history of metabolic disorders. But know these transitions can have an enormous impact on your overall heart health. Countdown. Food number 4, sugary drinks. The fourth item to watch is sugary beverages. You might think of soda, sweet teas, or fruit punches as casual thirst quenchers, but they actually deliver a massive load of sugar in mere seconds. That surge of sugar provokes an equally fierce surge of insulin. Over time, constant insulin spikes produce a state of insulin resistance. A 2017 study in Circulation, an American Heart Association journal, revealed that frequent consumption of sweetened drinks significantly increases the risk of coronary artery blockages in older populations. Plus, these beverages add empty calories. You might still feel hungry afterward, leading to overeating and weight gain, yet another risk factor for a coronary event. Consider the case of Miss Bond's Diamond, 77, who drank sweet tea throughout the day. She assumed it was healthier than soda, but each glass was loaded with tablespoons of sugar. Over the years, she not only packed on extra pounds, but also showed signs of metabolic syndrome, a condition that includes high blood pressure, abnormal cholesterol levels, and elevated blood glucose. One scare later, she learned to appreciate the taste of water by adding a wedge of lemon or a few cucumber slices. By phasing out sugary drinks, she dropped a few pounds, her glucose readings improved, and her doctor noticed better blood pressure control. Remember, you can still enjoy an occasional fresh squeezed juice, but treat it more like a treat than a staple. If you want carbonation, choose sparkling water, possibly with a splash of 100% juice for flavor. Unflavored iced herbal teas or black coffee in moderation are also good alternatives. The key is to limit that high sugar jolt that can undermine your cardiovascular system. According to Dr. Barry Popkin, a nutrition researcher referenced by the WHO in 2020, having your sugary beverage intake can yield measurable improvements in heart markers within weeks. Moderation, once again, is paramount. Drop that sugary soda, and your heart will feel lighter literally and figuratively. Countdown. Food number 3, fried and battered foods. Now, let's talk about fried chicken, battered fish, French fries, and other crispy indulgences. Frying involves high heat oil that often degrades into harmful byproducts, like advanced glycation end products, AGEs. These substances promote inflammation in your arteries, raising your blood pressure and contributing to plaque formation. Many restaurants reuse frying oil, which only multiplies those toxic compounds. For an older adult, that translates to more inflammation, stiffer vessels, and a vastly increased chance of a catastrophic blockage. It's not an exaggeration. Persistent intake of deeply fried foods can be a direct pipeline to serious cardiac trouble. While volunteering in a community clinic, I met Mr. Quintico, 74, a grandfather of 5, who always treated his grandchildren to fast food lunches. He believed he was spoiling them in a good way, but he too indulged each time, piling on fried chicken sandwiches and fries. Eventually, after frequent bouts of chest discomfort, he was admitted with a near-complete blockage in one coronary artery. Surgeries are costly and stressful, especially for older bodies. Diet was a principal factor in his crisis. Now, he grills or bakes chicken at home, seasoning it with paprika and oregano. He also discovered the air fryer, an appliance that reduces the oil needed, slashing harmful byproducts. Try healthier cooking methods like baking, steaming, or stir-frying with minimal oil. If you do fry occasionally, use a stable oil like avocado oil. Keep the temperature below 350 degrees and never reuse the oil. You can also coat foods in whole wheat breadcrumbs or lightly in cornstarch before air frying for added crispiness without the heavy grease. The takeaway: it's not just about enjoying your favorite fried dish less often, it's about ditching cooking methods that produce artery-damaging toxins. Combined with the other changes on this list, focusing on better cooking techniques can markedly reduce heart stress. Always remember to loop in your physician for personalized guidance, especially if you already have heart or kidney issues. Countdown. Food number 2, processed meats. Bacon, ham, salami, sausages, and deli slices. These are dietary staples in many households. Unfortunately, they are brimming with sodium, saturated fats, and preservatives such as nitrites or nitrates. Research has shown that these chemicals can turn into more damaging substances once metabolized, weakening the lining of your blood vessels. A 2019 meta-analysis in the British Medical Journal found that older adults who frequently consumed processed meats had a significantly higher incidence of coronary disease and stroke compared to those who limited intake. The combination of salt, poor quality fat, and preservatives acts like a triple threat to your cardiovascular system. Think of Mr. Goodwin, a 76-year-old with a history of mild hypertension. He never saw an issue with his weekly bacon breakfast, plus the ham sandwich he enjoyed for dinner. After all, these were small portions. Yet the silent salt accumulation compounded his blood pressure struggles, and the saturated fat contributed to rising LDL cholesterol. When he collapsed one day with chest pain, the doctors discovered advanced plaque buildup in his arteries. The frightening part, he rarely ate sweets or pastries. His main dietary vice was processed meat. This revelation drove home how crucial it is to evaluate every meal component, especially the hidden hazards in seemingly small servings. To safeguard your heart, consider fresh poultry, lean cuts of beef, or plant-based proteins like tofu, lentils, and beans in place of processed meat. If you really miss that smoky flavor, select uncured or nitrate-free options and keep the portion sizes modest. For sandwiches, load up on vegetables, tomatoes, lettuce, onions for crunch and flavor, reducing the need for heavy, salty meats. Dr. Walter Willett of the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health has repeatedly advised that limiting red and processed meats can significantly reduce the risk of cardiovascular complications in older adults. Harvard Health Publishing, 2020. By following this tip, you can slash one of the most dangerous elements in a typical senior diet. Countdown. Food number 1, trans fats and partially hydrogenated oils. Finally, we arrive at the most hazardous category: foods containing trans fats, often produced via partial hydrogenation. These oils are found in some margarines, baked goods, snack crackers, and certain fast food items. Trans fats elevate bad LDL cholesterol while dragging down good HDL cholesterol, creating the perfect environment for plaque formation in your arteries. Even minimal amounts, just a couple of grams daily, have been linked to a significant rise in coronary events. With advanced age, your arteries are far less resilient, making them especially vulnerable to the ravages of trans fats. If left unchecked, this could lead directly to a life-threatening heart crisis. Years ago, I treated a patient named Mrs. Powell, 80, who frequently munched on commercially made pastries labeled trans fat-free. But upon examining the ingredients, we found partially hydrogenated oils hidden inside. Food manufacturers can claim 0 grams trans fat if a serving contains less than 0.5 grams. Over many servings, that small amount can become a big deal. Mrs. Powell's lipid profile was alarming, with extremely high LDL and very low HDL. After she cut out these snacks, replaced them with homemade treats using olive oil, and focused on more fresh produce, her cholesterol improved significantly. Avoiding trans fats is truly non-negotiable if you wish to strengthen your defenses against a cardiac catastrophe. The key strategy: read labels meticulously. Look out for partially hydrogenated in any form. Even if the front of the package says no trans fat, you must inspect the fine print. Whenever possible, cook at home with olive, canola, or avocado oil. If you crave the taste of buttery spreads, consider products made from real butter in modest amounts or spreads formulated without hydrogenation. By pushing trans fats completely off your plate, you eliminate one of the most powerful dietary threats to your cardiovascular system. The older you are, the more urgent it is to remove these artery assassins from your pantry. Your heart and your future depend on it. Action plan: putting it all together. You've just uncovered the 7 categories of foods that can magnify your risks beyond measure. Let's recap them in a quick list. 1. Canned soups and packaged meals, salt overload. 2. Pastries and sweet treats, excess sugar and harmful fats. 3. White bread and refined carbs, rapid sugar spikes. 4. Sugary drinks, calorie bombs that cause insulin roller coasters. 5. Fried and battered foods, toxic byproducts and inflammatory fats. 6. Processed meats, salt, nitrates, and unhealthy fats. 7. Trans fats and partially hydrogenated oils, the most lethal heart hazards in your 7th decade and beyond. You can't afford to let these items remain in your diet unchecked. Every small step to reduce or replace these items stacks the odds in your favor. Now, how do you turn this knowledge into actual life changes? First, consult your physician or a registered dietitian. Discuss your current heart condition, blood pressure, and any other risk factors such as diabetes or kidney issues. Then, start small. Replace just one high-risk food each week with a healthier option. For instance, if you can't give up your nightly canned soup, try a low-sodium, homemade vegetable version. Use leftover fresh produce, freeze it in batches, and thaw as needed. If you love sweet snacks, add more fruit to your meals so you feel less compelled to binge on pastries. Gentle, incremental shifts will keep you motivated while minimizing the stress on your lifestyle. Set tangible goals. For example, I will reduce my sodium intake to 500 milliliters per month a day within the next month. Or I will switch from white bread to 50% whole grain bread. Goals that are specific, measurable, and time-bound can boost compliance. Next, track your progress. Whether it's a simple food diary or an app on your phone, monitoring what you consume helps you see patterns you might otherwise miss. If you're tech-savvy, consider a wearable device to keep an eye on your heart rate and daily steps. What gets measured gets improved. Think of it as an investment in staying active for your grandchildren, your hobbies, and your overall independence. Call to comment. Have you ever noticed your body reacting poorly after a salty canned soup or a sweet donut? Do your ankles swell? Or does your energy plummet? Have you felt that warning flutter in your chest? Comment, I feel it. If any of this strikes a chord, or comment, I'm safe, if you've never experienced these red flags. And please add a question for the doctor if you're uncertain about how these foods might be impacting your specific condition. Your questions can spark dialogue that helps others in this community learn from real experiences. Virality enhancer, missing spark, and personal stories. One element missing from many discussions of senior heart health is an actual challenge, something practical you can commit to and see results from in real time. Let's introduce a 24-hour heart challenge. Starting tomorrow morning, remove just one item from the high-risk list and note how you feel by the next day. For example, skip that processed deli sandwich and swap it with the grilled chicken and spinach wrap. Jot down any changes in mood, energy, and digestion. This immediate action can motivate you to tackle the rest of the list. Small successes build momentum faster than you'd think. Beyond that short test, let's also unveil a 7-day Heart Saver checklist. Over 1 week, tackle each food category systematically. Day 1, reduce or rinse away extra sodium by making your own soup. Day 2, skip pastries and sweet treats, try fresh fruit bowls, and see if that satisfies your sweet cravings. Day 3, swap out white bread for whole grains. Day 4, cut sugary beverages entirely and stick to water or unsweetened tea. Day 5, choose baked or air-fried options over deep-fried meals. Day 6, go a full 24 hours without processed meats. Day 7, investigate your pantry for trans fats and toss any offending items. Share this checklist with family or friends so you can keep each other accountable. Take a moment to visualize your life if you manage to keep these items out of your routine. Picture waking up with more energy, stable blood pressure, and fewer fears about an unforeseen hospital trip. Envision being able to travel, garden, or play actively with your grandchildren without that lingering anxiety of a potential heart flare-up. These are real, tangible benefits that can come from mindful eating. Remember Miss Bruce, Bradley, Mr. Goodwin, and the others, they each found a path back to better health once they recognized how dangerous these foods could be in senior years. They're living proof that it's never too late to make changes. 2 more real or composite case studies for extra power. Case study, a Ms. Hartley, 73, a former teacher. She lived alone, so she relied heavily on frozen meals. After a prolonged period of fatigue and mild chest pain, she learned her blood pressure was at dangerously high levels. Her sodium intake hovered around 3,000 milliliters a day, primarily from prepackaged dinners. Once she replaced those frozen entrees with homemade bean soup low in salt and fresh salads, her systolic blood pressure dropped by 15 points within 2 months. Her heart specialist praised the dietary switch, alongside her medication, as a decisive factor in preventing further cardiac strain. She now cooks in batches on Sundays, freezing healthy portions that are simple to heat. Case study B, Mr. Lawson, 79, a former marathon runner who maintained a normal weight but indulged in pastries and sweet beverages. He assumed his active history protected him. However, an unexpected heart scan revealed notable plaque buildup in his coronary arteries. His doctor traced the problem to his daily consumption of sugary drinks and refined carb snacks. These foods, combined with normal age-related changes, had begun to corrode his arterial health. Over the next 6 months, he replaced pastries with oat-based muffins, sweetened lightly with fruit puree, and learned to sip unsweetened teas. At his follow-up appointment, his bad cholesterol levels had improved, and his doctor was impressed by the reversal of several concerning trends. Science interlude. Why this matters at 70 plus. You might wonder why everything seems to catch up with us after 70. The American Heart Association has consistently reported that arterial elasticity diminishes with age. Decades of mild inflammation and small accumulations of plaque can snowball into significant blockages. High blood pressure transitions from an occasional annoyance to a daily threat. And the older you get, the less tolerant your system becomes of dramatic insulin and blood pressure fluctuations. This synergy of age-related changes, combined with certain dietary habits, creates a tinderbox for cardiovascular catastrophes. By eliminating these 7 high-risk foods, you're removing a major source of the spark that can ignite that tinderbox. Prevention is easier than dealing with emergency surgery or permanent disability. According to the WHO, about 1/5 of myocardial infarctions heart attacks occur silently, without classic warning signs such as severe chest pain. In older adults, the symptoms can be as mild as fatigue or shortness of breath. By the time you realize something is off, substantial damage may be done. The point is to cut the crisis off at the pass by maintaining a heart-friendly diet. It's never guaranteed that you'll avoid every issue, but improving your eating habits is the single most significant non-pharmaceutical step you can take, especially if you've already been prescribed medications for blood pressure or cholesterol. Dr. Michael Greger, who reviews thousands of nutrition studies, often emphasizes that the power of whole foods can transform even advanced cardiovascular disease. Those are encouraging words. You don't have to become a perfect eater overnight, and you certainly don't have to abandon every pleasurable meal. The shift, however, involves removing the worst culprits and moderating everything else. Balance is not just a cliche, it's the formula for longevity. If you're feeling overwhelmed by the idea of a new diet, remember you are stronger than you realize. You've navigated decades of life. This is one more journey, and this time, it's about safeguarding your heart so you can keep living life on your terms. More action steps, detailed checklist. Let's map out a thorough, day-by-day breakdown you can try over the next week. Keep it flexible, consult your physician first, and adapt to any dietary restrictions you might have. Day 1, sodium slash. Document all salt sources. Read your labels carefully on canned items, if possible. Cook a fresh meal and measure the salt you add. Day 2, sugar swap. 0 pastries, donuts, or cookies. Instead, enjoy naturally sweet foods like grapes or blueberries. Keep track of how you feel. Day 3, carb conscious. Replace any white bread with whole grain. Switch out refined pasta for whole wheat or legume-based pasta. Day 4, ditch sugary drinks. Commit to water, herbal tea, or coffee without added sugar. Day 5, fry-free Friday. If it's a day you usually grab fried fish or chicken, bake or grill it instead. Explore marinade recipes for flavor. Day 6, processed meat pause. Try a day of meals without bacon, deli meats, or sausages. Incorporate grilled chicken, beans, or tofu. Day 7, trans fat takedown. Scan all your processed foods. Eliminate anything listing partially hydrogenated in the ingredients. If you have baking needs, pick up oils like olive or canola to replace solid shortenings. By the end of these 7 days, you'll have a clearer picture of where your pitfalls lie and how to correct them. Even if you slip up, keep going. Progress, not perfection. Alongside these shifts, prioritize hydration and consistent meal times to help your body establish stable blood sugar levels. If your schedule allows, take short walks of 10 to 15 minutes, 2 or 3 times a day. Movement boosts circulation, burns off extra glucose, and helps keep blood pressure in a safer range. Also, schedule follow-up with your healthcare provider to review your improvements. Perhaps you'll need less medication or discover that your cholesterol has improved. Remember, these transformations are cumulative. One healthy meal doesn't erase weeks of unhealthy eating, but with persistence, you can significantly reduce your risk. Keeping a positive mindset focusing on what you can do rather than what you can't is key to long-term success. Call to comment. Part 2. Before we proceed, I want to hear from you again. Are you ready for the 7-day Heart Saver checklist? Comment, count me in if you're prepared to start tomorrow. If you're hesitant, share why in the comments. Is it cost, time, or limited access to healthier foods? The community here can often provide resources or tips. Don't forget, no question is too small when it involves your heart. By discussing openly, we create a support system that moves everyone toward better health. Virality enhancer, medical follow-up schedule. Now that we've covered dietary changes, let's discuss follow-up schedules. If you're over 70, it is vital to check in with your doctor regularly every 6 months for routine exams, or more often if you have known heart conditions. Ask for blood pressure readings, lipid panels, and possibly an EKG if recommended. Discuss any unusual symptoms, like frequent dizziness, persistent swelling, or unexplained fatigue. By pairing these medical checkups with your new eating regimen, you'll be able to gauge your progress accurately. Remember, medical care and dietary strategies should complement each other, not compete. This is about synergy. A well-informed physician and an informed patient can drastically reduce the odds of a devastating cardiac episode. If possible, keep a small notebook or digital record of your daily diet, noting what you ate and how you felt afterward. Did you experience bloating or fatigue? Were you unusually alert and energetic? Observing these patterns helps your physician pinpoint any sensitivities or deficiencies. Plus, it makes you more aware of your own health journey. Over time, you might find you no longer crave highly processed foods. Taste buds can adapt. Many older adults discover that once they cut out heavy salt and sugar, they start to appreciate the natural flavors in fresh vegetables, whole grains, and lean proteins. It's a transformative process that can reshape your relationship with food. Urgency and ethics, scientifically grounded, no sensationalism. These recommendations aren't meant to scare you into panic. They're grounded in decades of peer-reviewed scientific evidence and real-life clinical results. However, you deserve this sense of urgency because the stakes are high. If you're 70 or above, you might only be one meal choice away from a serious event if your cardiovascular status is already compromised. Think of it like driving on bald tires in a rainstorm. You might get lucky for a while, but eventually you'll hit a slick patch. Upgrading those tires in this case, your diet provides an essential safeguard. Of course, you must continue any medications or therapies prescribed by your healthcare provider. Nothing replaces proper medical care. All I'm asking is that you give your heart a fighting chance. This organ has worked tirelessly for you, beating more than 2 billion times by age 70. It's a remarkable machine for Maumon, but even the most reliable engines need the right fuel. Every donut, every high-sodium soup, every bag of processed chips, it all accumulates. Keep perspective. Though one treat won't condemn you, just as one salad won't save you. The battle for your cardiovascular future is about consistent habits. Make them count. If you're feeling overwhelmed, step back and refocus on a single change. Then add another next week. Over time, these changes add up to a robust protective shield around your heart. Conclusion. Let's sum it all up with 3 rapid-fire takeaways. First, high sodium, excessive sugar, and trans fats are among the worst diet risks after 70. Second, gradual but deliberate food swaps like whole grains for refined carbs and fresh meats for processed ones can drastically reduce cardiac complications. Third, regular doctor visits and mindful tracking of what you eat play an enormous role in sustaining improvements. If you found these insights valuable, please hit like and subscribe so you'll never miss future tips on health and wellness. Even better, share this with someone who's over 70 or anyone you suspect might benefit from a health wake-up call. Sometimes it only takes one piece of information to prevent a tragedy. Knowledge is power, especially when it comes to extending the vitality of our later years. If you have further questions, drop them below. You're also welcome to share your success stories if you've already completed a heart-friendly challenge. I want to leave you with one open question to spark further discussion. Which daily comfort food could you most easily give up to protect your heart? And why? Let us know in the comments. This question might prompt you to reflect on your own eating habits and encourage others to do the same. Remember, the journey to a healthier, more secure future starts with awareness. And once you know the risks, you have the power to change your life. Stay vigilant, stay informed, and I'll see you in the next video, hopefully with great news about how you've transformed your diet for the better.